Cheong Soo Pieng arrived in Singapore in 1946 when he was almost 30 years old. Born and raised in China, his worldview was primarily shaped by his Chinese environment. Although his artistic practice at the time was largely expressed through Western mediums, mainly watercolor and occasionally oil, his artistic consciousness remained firmly grounded in the paradigm of a Chinese artist. In 1952, he embarked on the historic Bali trip with 3 fellow Chinese émigré pioneer artists. While he gradually embraced Singapore as his adopted home, his Chinese identity remained intact as the island's multicultural fabric accommodated diverse cultural affiliations. Throughout his career, Cheong Soo Pieng continually explored ways to articulate his Chinese roots through his art. For example, he began using oil paint to evoke the effect of ink wash. He also painted kampong scenes that mirror the notions of an idealized landscape found in traditional Chinese landscape paintings. Landscape depicting nature has always held a sacred spot in the long tradition of Chinese art. Unlike in the Western world, the discourse of mainstream Chinese art was largely shaped by the literati class. The literati revered landscape painting for its ability to express the spiritual refinement of the ideal Mandarin. By 1978, Cheong Soo Pieng had gained enough confidence to arrive at the conviction that the modernization of Chinese art need not rely on Western mediums. From then on, he set out to directly modernize the Chinese landscape tradition itself, seeking to revitalize a millennium-old art form and re-establish its relevance within the contemporary world. The mastery of the Chinese brush lies at the heart of Chinese art. Although Cheong Soo Pieng was not formally trained in traditional brush painting, he demonstrated remarkable control and sensitivity in his handling of the brush, as evident in this 1952 ink work. The brushstrokes are steady and assured, exhibiting an impressive dexterity that rivals that of classically trained Chinese ink painters. By the early 1980s, Cheong Soo Pieng had produced a large number of ink landscapes that marked a clear departure from his earlier ink styles, drawing inspiration from his 1979 trip to China. In June 1980, Soo Pieng staged a solo exhibition in Taiwan at the Taiji Gallery, and in 1981, he held another show in Taiwan at the National Museum of History. During his trips, he likely visited the Palace Museum, where he would have encountered important landscape masterpieces from the Song dynasty. He also would have visited the famous natural site of Yehliu. With its strikingly unique rock formations, Yehliu was a landscape difficult for capturing. Cheong Soo Pieng was nevertheless inspired to take on this artistic challenge. Cheong Soo Pieng created a series of ink paintings based on Yehliu, some on a grand scale. They reflected the influence of Northern Song landscape traditions, like the monumental work from Northern Song dynasty, Travelers Among Mountains and Streams. One of his masterpieces in this body of works is the work Queen's Head, Yehliu. Cheong Soo Pieng's technical accomplishment lay in tackling the pictorial challenge posed by Yehliu's peculiar rock formations, for which no precedent existed in the traditional lexicon of Chinese landscape painting. He achieved this by devising a sophisticated matrix of varied strokes to evoke the forms and textures of Yehliu's unusual rocks, creating in the process his own distinctive technique of chunfa. Chunfa is a brushwork technique specific to Chinese landscape painting. And in doing so, Cheong Soo Pieng reinvigorated a tradition that had become rigid and formulaic since the late Ming master Dong Jichang. At its core, the art of Chinese painting has always centered on self-cultivation and authenticity. This is unlike modern Western art, which tends to be anchored by the pursuit of innovation. In the Chinese art world, what truly matters is the artist's ability to confront the inner self, transcend social and temporal limitations, and express his truth and individuality with honesty. All great Chinese painters emphasize the ability to paint from the heart. In this work, Cheong Soo Pieng's brushwork reveals precisely such freedom of spirit. His strokes convey the presence of an unrestrained mind and a flow of vitality that invites the viewer into a meditative state. Having moved through various Western mediums and expressions, Cheong Soo Pieng ultimately reconnected with the spirit of the Chinese masters, completing a profound artistic circle.